Hi, everybody. I'm Bruce Clay. I'm doing a sponsored session on AI-powered workflow. I think everybody would like to know how AI and writers can coexist. Come by and see us. Looking forward to seeing you there.
Microsoft Advertising is defining a new future to empower growth for all. Microsoft Advertising. Discover what's possible.
Well, hello there, people. I'm Mr. Mountain, and I want to show you how proprietary technology makes it easy and affordable for any brand to advertise on TV at mountain.com.
We spared no expense.
Hi, this is Pamela Parker, Research Director of the Content Studio at Third Door Media. And I'm here to remind you that the Search Engine Land Awards are now open for entries. So get your team recognized for the outstanding work they do in search marketing. Visit this link to enter today, and good luck.
Hello, and welcome to SMX Advanced. I'm Danny Goodwin, Managing Editor of Search Engine Land and SMX. Since 2007, SMX Advanced has been guiding search marketers just like you through all the biggest changes in SEO and PPC, and it's time to do it once again. 2024 has been an absolutely wild year, and we're only halfway through it. So over the next 2 days, you'll see some absolutely amazing speakers, presentations, and keynotes packed with actual tactics and insights to help you drive measurable results. You also have plenty of opportunities to ask questions of our speakers during Overtime Live Q&A. And as always, join us tomorrow for our themed coffee talks where you can talk directly to us and each other. But before we kick off the show, a few thank yous. Thank you to the industry experts on our programming committee who generously gave their time and experience helping us plan the SMX Advanced agenda just for you. A big thank you to our title sponsors who helped make this event possible. And finally, thank you for joining us for SMX Advanced. Are you ready to kick off this show? I sure am. It's time for our opening keynote, and this is going to be a good one. Search Engine Land's Barry Schwartz is about to interview the Google executive who spearheaded the March updates, Google's Director of Product Management for Search, Elizabeth Tucker. Take it away, Barry.
Hi, everybody. I'm Barry Schwartz. I'm a news editor at Search Engine Land, and welcome to XMX. Super honored and proud and excited to tell you that we have Elizabeth Tucker. Googler was been with Google for about 20 years now, and you've been very, very involved in how core search works, the analysis behind it, and all that type of stuff. So thank you so much for spending a few minutes with us at XMX talking about all the things that everybody wants to know. Thank you. Welcome.
Thanks, Barry. It's a real honor and pleasure to be here.
So over your 20 years, have you been directly focused on mostly core ranking? What was your job over at Google for the past 20 years?
Yeah, so I started out as a data scientist, and I worked on issues like how do we measure search? How do we know what searches we're doing well on? Where are we not doing so well? I worked on issues like experimentation. If we're making a change to search, are we making it better? I loved data science. I spent about 15 years doing that. When I was ready for a change and some new challenges, I stepped into a product management role. I've worked on information literacy products like About This Result. And most of my work has been on some of our core ranking systems, our models, our signals that go into making search work. I'm really passionate about the mission of search to make information universally accessible. I have to say, I'm just endlessly amazed. I'm in awe of the curiosity of humanity that we see expressed in the query stream. I'm a huge fan of the open web. To me, it's our modern day Library of Alexandria. It's a storehouse of humanity's knowledge, experience, creativity, and being able to satisfy that curiosity of humanity with this wonderful, amazing Library of Alexandria online. Working at Search for me is it's a dream job.
Interesting. Is there anything specific over the years that really got you excited about core search?
I've always been passionate about information and satisfying people's curiosity. But I think over the years, one of the things I've seen is just the critical life impacting role that Google search can play. I remember at one point we were doing some analysis and we were looking at the kinds of queries that we call your money or your life queries. And sometimes people come to Google and search for things that will directly affect them in the next few moments. Sometimes, cries for help. And I remember reading some feedback from a user who talked about how he came to Google in a moment of crisis and then contacted a suicide hotline, and search was the reason that he was alive today. And those kinds of stories just really move me and so many people in search quality to make sure that we're showing really helpful results for people when they come to search.
That's amazing. So thanks for sharing that. I appreciate it. I'm just curious. So obviously we're going through these various core updates and helpful content update. I know as Google's comments have been around, don't think about search, don't think about SEO per se, don't think about what I could do for Google, but what I could do for users. But what should content creators and SEOs think about when it comes to building content that not only serves the user, but also does well and ranks well in Google search?
Yeah, that's a great question. So first, let me share a little bit about how I think about Google search as a product manager. Every day people come to search, we get billions of searches. And of course, we want to surface the best of the web, right? These helpful, reliable, high quality results, the content that people want to see. I want people to love the open web as much as I do. And when people have great experiences going out and exploring websites, if they find their new favorite content creators and publishers, those are the kind of wonderful experiences that we know get people excited about engaging with the open web. So those are the kinds of experiences that I want people to have when they come and they search. So kind of our North Star, really, when we think about search and what we try to do and what we try to show, is getting people to these really satisfying and helpful results. So there's this great quote about how you should go where the hockey puck is going. I'm probably messing it up, not where the...
Right. Skate where the puck's go. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so to a certain extent, probably, and my suggestion is think about what we are trying to do, what our North Star is and where we are going, and kind of aim for that. Think about those things that we consider critically important so that people love the open web. Think about content that's helpful, satisfying, and has good experiences. And I think, if you aim for that and we are aiming for that, we'll be aligned and content will both rank well on Google and be content that people love and want to come back to.
I have to make a joke. So basically just write content on Reddit.
There is certainly that, but I think, there's great content of many different types.
Got it. Talking about misconceptions like I just brought up right now, what are some of the biggest misconceptions you see SEOs talking about that may set them off in the wrong direction?
Oh gosh. Okay, so I'm a real search quality nerd, right? So I spend a lot of my day, debugging queries and looking at systems and signals and math and, all of course to make search better, right? But we also spend a lot of time getting feedback from users and getting feedback from the SEO community. It's been a really useful exercise. I talk to people like Danny Sullivan and John Mueller and the search relations team a lot. And I read the tech press, Search Engine Land, and other pieces. So, in the course of my work, I do occasionally see statements by SEOs that they have some misconceptions involved about how ranking works. I think the ones that maybe concern me the most in terms of sending people down the wrong road are sort of when people get super caught up in some of these technical details, like do X, Y, and Z, and you'll get a lot of traffic. Or some of these comments like, oh, well, search really likes, and I'm going to make this up, Google search really likes pages with pink backgrounds, not orange backgrounds. Or Google really likes content on Reddit, not short form video or something like that. Again, we are trying to satisfy people with all of these different informational needs, with all sorts of different great types of content and great websites. And I do worry that when people kind of get down in the weeds on specific technical details or signals that we may or may not have, it might take away from that big picture, question of, is this helpful, satisfying content? Are people going to have a good experience? So as long as people keep that North Star in sight, I think they'll do well.
Interesting. Are there any like big red flags that you've seen specifically that you want to say just don't do it, or you don't want to get into the specifics?
I think sometimes the red flags I've seen are when people say, hey, if you pay me money, I'll tell you 3 tricks to get you to rank at the top of Google. I'm highly suspect of those folks. But in general, what helps you rank well on Google at the end of the day is, I hope, creating great content that satisfies users. Beyond that, our signals are complex. Search is dynamic. It's constantly changing. There is no one-size-fits-all solution to making great content. It comes in so many different flavors, shapes, and sizes. Focus on the big picture.
Yeah, we see about 14,000 of them. So we'll get into that maybe a little bit later. That being said, let's talk about the core update, the last one, the March core update. I think you had the privilege of actually posting that on the Google blog. So Thank you for informing us of that. Just curious, a lot of questions came up around that. Why did it take so long? I know it was supposed to be long, but 45 days to roll that out.
Okay, so let's just do a little review first. When we did our March update, there were really 2 major components of that. So one is that we updated our web spam policies. I think as we've all noticed, content creation, methods of content creation are just changing rapidly. We were seeing new sort of abuse tactics. We made some pretty major changes there. And on the basis of that, we took manual actions. We updated our algorithmic systems. The other thing that we did is we made some really big updates to multiple core systems. Now, the beginning of this was lots of genuine user complaints about certain types of really unsatisfying, low-quality, unhelpful content. This began in 2022 with our helpful content update. And what we saw over time is that while the helpful content update was very successful in reducing the amount of that low-quality, unsatisfying content, we actually did a lot of work to understand why were we showing this content in the first place. We have powerful core ranking systems that do heavy lifting in search and try to get those really great, satisfying results. What was going on? And so using the ideas, the signals, all of the insights that we gained from the helpful content update, we then examined our core systems. We found ways to improve them. We found ways to bring signals in. We did some re-architecture work so that we could do a much better job of showing helpful content. And after all of this work, as we posted, we got about a 45% decrease in the amount of unhelpful, unsatisfying content we were showing. Obviously, this was a lot of work. It was a lot of changes. We made a lot of changes to a bunch of different core systems. We had to roll this out carefully. We actually had a mini war room going on. We have wonderful site reliability engineers. We were doing live monitoring of capacity and latency in our data centers because it is unusual for us to roll out so many different changes at once. We did so successfully. However, there were a few times where we noticed hiccups, we paused, we slowed down, and we made sure things rolled out smoothly. So yes, it took 45 days. I'm sorry. We did get through it. Everything is working as intended. We did not break search. That was one of our big goals. And hopefully now we have kept the amount of low quality, unhelpful, unsatisfying content low. We've gotten great feedback. And I think overall our system updates were successful.
You said hiccups. Was that like a hiccup related to like server capacity, or was more of a hiccup related to maybe low quality content surfacing too much?
No, none of this had to do with quality. These were technical hiccups, if you will. I don't know if hiccup is the right word. We were rolling something out. We noticed there was an unexpected capacity issue, which we paused and investigated and made sure we understood things really clearly. We do want to keep Google Search up and running live, doing a great job. So we really do have to be careful when we're rolling out changes to these large scale systems that have to operate around the world, for billions of queries a day and in all languages. There's a lot of really hard kind of engineering that we need to do to make sure that search works successfully.
Okay, great. And then would you classify this as the largest core update in history for Google?
I think I would have to. So we did, it was kind of like we did a couple different updates to different core systems simultaneously. I don't think we've ever quite done that before. I was talking to some of our execs before, and I was saying, look, this is pretty unprecedented, and I was told not to break Google. So we were really careful rolling out. Like I said, mini war room, a lot of monitoring. We did roll out, but we took our time and we did it right.
All right, cool. And another question a lot of SEOs have been asking is, why did you not tell us until like the 26th when it was done on the 18th of April? What was the delay for? Do you remember?
Oh, yeah. Let me kind of go back in time. So as I recall, we were actually rolling out a few things, right? There were multiple changes. We wanted to make sure that all of the changes were entirely rolled out. And then I think there might have been another reason that we were checking on a few last things. So there was some question of, when do we call this done? Let's make sure absolutely everything is out. I do remember pinging a bunch of teams, making sure that we had every little last thing that we were rolling out fully included. I think there was one change we were even not sure there was a part of our original set of things. And so then we were wondering, oh, wait a second, wait. Do we need to wait until this one rolls all the way out? But I think this is, when we do something unprecedented and when we make a lot of changes at once like that, it is a pretty complex operation. Hundreds of people were involved. So just answering the question of, are we done yet? It involves so many different things and discussions. So I think there was a little bit of uncertainty at one point about whether we were finished or not.
Okay. And then it was interesting because originally it was aiming at reducing it by 40%, reducing low quality, unhelpful content by about 40%. What led to the 5-point gate on that?
You can blame that one directly on me, Barry. Okay. So I'm a former data scientist and I'm a data science nerd. And I'm going to tell you probably a little bit more than you want to know about this. But okay, here's the deal. We do tons and tons of testing before we launch anything. We want to make really sure that our systems are working as intended, that we're making meaningful and good changes for research. So needless to say, with such a big comprehensive update like this, and, I think probably, maybe the biggest we've ever done, you can imagine how much testing was involved. Now, as a data scientist, I will just tell you that before we roll something out live to 100% of Google traffic, we are testing in a testing environment. And I also know as a data scientist that sometimes there can be a little bit of a difference in performance that we see in a testing environment versus a full rollout. I will also tell you as a data scientist, the numbers that I trust are the numbers after we've rolled out to 100% of Google traffic. And then we've done multiple point in time measurements and gotten consistent numbers. The web is constantly evolving. People are constantly searching for different things. Our systems are constantly refreshing. And so in doing multiple measurements on real live traffic right now at different points in time and seeing consistent numbers, that's what I trust. And that's where the 45% came from, is those real measurements that we did after rollout. So I went back to our wonderful comms team. It's like, hey, we're really getting some reliable measurements that come in at a 45% decrease. We do really try to be open and honest about what's going on in our updates and systems, which is then why I think we use that 45% number, which then massively confused people because our initial testing and our testing environment was a little bit closer to 40%.
Okay, that's good. And then in terms of, people are like, all right, how do you define low quality? Because again, you're defining it, you're measuring it, you're trying to remove the low quality, and everybody's asking you like, Google, just tell me what's low quality. So is there a way for you to give us some examples?
Sure. So Barry, I love this question. Obviously I'm a former data scientist. And when I started at Google, we actually didn't have a formal definition of quality. I can remember some really interesting discussions, very lively, sometimes contentious discussions with many of my colleagues. I think you've talked to HJ, Paul Haar. And one of the things that we found is that we really needed to have a good unified notion of what quality means. And so as a data scientist, this is one of the challenges that I took on. And this is what ended up resulting in our page quality guideline as part of our search quality general guideline, and the measurements that we do as search quality raters. So you may know we have a document called the Search Quality Rater Guideline, where we rigorously define, high quality, low quality. We give examples. And this document truly is the foundation of how third-party evaluators then go and evaluate our results for quality. And I think what makes quality so incredibly difficult is there isn't like a one-size-fits-all easy way to think about it. It's actually a fairly nuanced thing, right? Because what you want in high quality results for a search like symptoms of a heart attack, you want really accurate, comprehensive information, might be really different than what you might think of as high quality adult results for like a search like cute kittens, right? You want really adorable kittens. So we've laid it all out in our Search Quality Rater Guidelines. We take into account the quality of the main content, things like accuracy for informational content, talent and skill. We look at things like page experience. Can people sort of find the main content easily? We look at trustworthiness. We have EEAT, experience, expertise, authoritativeness, trustworthiness. We have a lot of different things that we think about, and they play different roles depending on the different type of content. So take a look. It's all there. Admittedly, Search Quality Rater Guideline, it is rather long. But there is a summary of it. If you're interested on the House Search website, of course, you can take a look at the whole thing, and there are actually examples you can click into and see.
And we'll try to link to that in the on the sidebar over here. That being said, also, you have confirmed many, many core updates over the years, but in the past, like in the months of May, there have been a lot of ups and downs with websites that were hit by this March core update, like saw declines when it first rolled out. And then they saw themselves increase and then decrease in rankings and so forth. I know search is very dynamic, but are you releasing like baby core updates or something in the month of May, like small tweaks like to the core systems on a small level that you're not telling us about, which is fine. But can you I know Google has said this in past that, sometimes you release small updates. We're not going to talk about it because we're really small.
So there are a couple of things likely going on. I don't know of any BB core updates that have gone out. I think I would know. But Barry, it's interesting. The things people search for like change radically day by day. I mean, like a Taylor Swift concert happens and like, boom, we're just seeing radically different traffic. Another thing is the content on the web constantly updates. And so when we do things like when we monitor and look at, the kinds of results we're showing on search, what people are engaging with and so on, we do see some pretty radical fluctuations, even if we don't change a thing. Now, having said that, we have systems that are constantly refreshing on different cadences, and we do make lots and lots of small improvements. And so, I think we could have a bunch of different things going on here. I know I don't know of any baby core updates, but I'm sure we've had several search improvements go out.
Okay, that makes sense. And then I assume you won't say like how many systems in general are these core updates. Is there like a number, like 72 or something like that?
Yeah, I think if you were to get like 5 search quality engineers into a room and ask them how many systems we have, you'd get at least 10 answers. I don't know of a rigorous way to count that. I might give you like 3 different answers myself. I think, many. I think we sometimes get into these pointless arguments about what is a signal, what is a system, what are subsystems versus main systems, which ones are core systems, which ones are supporting systems. I can't give you a good number. I don't know, at least 10, maybe more. Sorry. There's just no good way for me to count.
Okay, that's fine. But now we have this like search data leak that happened, a few weeks ago. If you were watching, so then it's been very interesting. People are really analyzing this. I know the Google statement was cautious that some of these things, assumptions may be inaccurate, and so forth. It's somewhat revealing in terms of that. I mean, could you potentially comment about the talk around about using clicks, Chrome data, time spent on page, where certain studies have been done in the past saying, Google does use this, and Google has released statements in the past saying we don't, and then Google has changed those statements. I know a lot of semantics here. Can you maybe comment on some of the things that people are looking at right now?
Okay, so unfortunately, I can't comment on specific signals, and for very good reason. I mean, there are bad actors. When we release a lot of information about how specific signals work, it becomes a vector for abuse, and that's frustrating for me too. I teach classes inside Google on how search quality systems work. I love to talk about all this. I'm a total search quality nerd. I would love to be able to share more, but we have to be incredibly careful. Now, if you have questions about specific statements, you can definitely send them our way. We can follow up on them. I'm actually not aware of all the statements that have been made over the years. The two things I will say is that any statements that I've seen and am sometimes involved with in fact checking, along with other engineers and partners in search quality, all the statements I know of are accurate. Things do change over time. We are constantly changing our signals and our systems and how they work because search is really dynamic. And one thing I'll share with you, Barry, is that, I teach these classes for Googlers in search quality on how ranking works. So new engineers and data scientists and PMs, sometimes I'm one of the first people that they, hear about all these systems from. So we walk through, not all the systems, but we walk through kind of the stages of search from when someone issues a query to the final results. And before I do that, I caution people and I tell them, our search systems are constantly changing. So what I ask them to do is focus on the search principles, our mission, our goals, and some of the big ideas as the first step to understand search. And I tell them, it's great to dig into the math. I love it. I'm a math nerd. We can definitely do some of that, but know that at any point in time, an engineering team may just totally overhaul their system. All the math will change. So we're constantly making changes. And so, a statement 10 years ago may not still be true today. And however, I will say, I don't know of any inaccurate statements that a Google spokesperson has ever made.
I appreciate that. Thank you. There's one more topic that SEO community has been talking about for a while. You've seen it a lot with even Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Google, has been addressing this as well. On the September 2023 helpful content update, there are some websites that seem to have been stuck and they cannot recover. And I know Danny Sullivan and other Googlers said there's a new when the core update comes out, we'll see some recoveries potentially. It seems like based on the data that we're tracking as SEOs, it's on the same data you're tracking, we haven't really received recoveries for any site that was really hit hard by that September helpful content update. And I know also Danny also mentioned that we're working on this. We're looking at ways to improve independent publishers and so forth. Anything you can comment on that for people who are really struggling with their website, that have really put their hearts into those websites, that maybe they should hold out a little bit longer?
Yeah. So first of all, I'm so grateful for the feedback that we receive from content creators, from the SEO community. Danny Sullivan has done a wonderful job of being a conduit to help all of us in search quality hear from content creators and SEOs, hear about people who were hit by the update, for example, and are trying to figure out what to do. We were actually just looking at many of our systems, our refresh cycles. Some systems and signals do change slowly due to their nature. When we look at signals that are based on really broad scale connectivity of the internet, the way that the websites are linked across the web, while individual websites may change somewhat quickly, the overall link structure is fairly slow to evolve. Now, having said that, we constantly refresh our systems. We do want to make sure that we can value systems for their current content, that we're hearing this feedback, that we're making improvements. Like I said, we are really passionate about sending traffic out to great sites so that people can experience the wonders of the open web. And any place that we're not doing well, we absolutely want to improve. We're listening. We're working hard to make sure that search lives up to the expectations, not only of people who come to search, but also the creators, the publishers who are putting great content out there. So we'll keep working on it. Keep talking to us. We're listening.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I guess my final question, with AI overviews and all that type of stuff going on with Google and the core updates and all this stuff, going forward, where do you see SEOs play a role in helping clients get more visibility in Google search?
That's a great question. I view SEOs as like an incredibly vital part of the open web ecosystem. And I see really, two absolutely wonderful roles. One is really helping these content creators, these publishers, build websites, and not only are great for users, but also websites that we as Google Search can understand so that we can surface the best of the web. I can't tell you how many times I've encountered great content on a site that's simply incomprehensible for Google Search to process. So thank you to all of you SEOs out there who read the Search Central blog and make sure websites are set up in a way that Google Search can understand them. Thank you to everyone who works with content creators and publishers and make sure they're making absolutely great content and great page experiences for people who come and visit. I think that's just an amazing role. The other thing is, like I said, I think SEOs have been a really critical and wonderful group for feedback for us, holding us accountable to our own high standards. So a huge shout out and thank you to everyone in the SEO community. We're listening, we care, keep the feedback coming.
Very good. As a president for all we do for the Google, for all SEOs do for Google, could you give us the Search Console data on the AI overviews? No, it's not your department, is it?
I don't even think I have access to that. I'll have to work on that first, Barry.
I had to ask. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Lucas, for doing this. I appreciate you spending the time with us at XMX. And I'm hoping that you have some really great new updates for us and looking forward to them. Thank you.
Thank you, Barry. We are working hard and we always want to hear from you.